Oh yeah, brother. And, thank the people who came before you that you get to learn great arts like that. So I was a wrestler and then I was a karate guy and I tried to box a little bit, but there was no real place for me in the boxing gym I went to. And I made my last video about that a little bit. But then I wound up in New York in my criminal life because I was going to go to Kosovo and run an insurance company with some Albanian partners. My father had just gotten out of prison. And I came around a Muay Thai gym. And keep in mind, I was still young. I was probably 27, right? I was a little fat because I wasn't working out all the time, right? Because I was focused more on the business. And who was the teacher at that Muay Thai gym? Coban, right? Who you see behind me. Two-time Lupanese Stadium champion. And it's ironic, I would later work with Jungsunan at El Nino 20 years in the future. Yeah, well, not 20 years in the future, more like 10, 15 years in the future, who was another stadium champion, Lupanese stadium champion as well, which is about the biggest award you can get in Thailand. Now, Coban taught Thai in a very traditional manner back then. Keep in mind, we're in 1999, 2000. We'd jump rope for half an hour, we'd run for half an hour, and then we'd start doing technique and stuff. And because I had just finished my first kickboxing career, I was in pretty good shape, and I was certainly better at sparring most of those guys. And there's this moment I have with Coban in the ring. Coban sees me beating up all his guys, and we're doing leg kick sparring. He bifurcated it into box spar and leg kicks and kicking sparring. And Coban sees me beating up his guys, and he goes, yeah, I'm getting in there. And he got in there, right? And I boxed around with Coban very respectfully. Like, I'd stick my front kick in his solar plexus, but I didn't hit him hard. Keep in mind, Coban's a little guy. I probably weighed 220. Coban probably weighed, I don't know, out of shape, 175. So I was a lot bigger than him. And I noticed something, like, if I took my martial arts experience, I could have hit him with a spin back kick and sent him right out of his ring. But what would that have done to his students, like, that admired him and loved him? And, MMA was still not even really a true sport yet. Dana and the Fertittas were not involved. Like, this is early days. And I recognized very clearly, like, that would have been a mistake. Like, to use my ego to bully a guy who may have been two-time stadium champion, but he's a little guy. I was young. He was probably in his late 30s. I was, in my late 20s, but mid to late 20s. But I was still in shape, and there's that power you get from being that young. And, it's a lesson I take with me in life, the humility of it. Now, of course, I went back and told my kickboxing coach, I could have kicked Coban out of the ring, and he laughed. He goes, no, you couldn't have. That's ridiculous. And that's the world. That's the world we live in. That's why everybody calls everyone else a fraud. And, yeah, that's why things are the way they are. Everybody, read my book, Warrior of the Light.